Hare Krishna, and welcome back to the BBT's 11th annual conference. We welcome all the participants who are joining us for this session, and mostly we welcome our guest speaker, His Holiness Bhakti Carudesna Swami. We are so pleased to have you with us, Maharaj. Thank you very much for agreeing to speak today. The topic that Maharaj will be discussing is Africa's spiritual dawn. So we are very excited about that. Just a note in terms of how to connect with Maharaj. On your screen, you will see at the bottom, there is a Q&A button that you can press if you want to submit a question. So if you are interested in submitting a question, please click on that, submit your question, and that question will then be asked to Maharaj. So Maharaj, without any further ado, what I will do is just read your bio. His Holiness Bhakti Chaudeshna Swami met the devotees in his country of birth, the Ivory Coast, in 1987. After receiving the signs of self-realization from a Sankirtan devotee, he joined the temple later that year. He was initiated by Bhakti Swami in 1989, and he received second initiation in 1995. He served as temple president the same year in the Ivory Coast. Since 2010, he's been traveling and preaching in places such as Togo, Nigeria, Ghana, Benin, South Africa, Mauritius, and Congo. He entered the renounced order of life in 2015 when he took sannyas initiation from His Holiness Kavichandra Swami. So once again, thank you very much, Maharaj, for agreeing to address. I hand over to you now.
Hare Krishna to everyone. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Sarvasdeve Gaurapani Pracharne Nirvasesa Sunyavadi Parchatar Siddharne Ummajanam Chinadasa Janasana Tashmash Guravi Kamkalotivacharam Bangam Nagate Giri Kripatadam Desh Gurum Dinatar. Hare Krishna to everyone. So we are very happy to be to participate in this 11th BBT Africa conference. And our topic is Africa's spiritual dawn. Yes, there is a lot of hope in Africa. Srila Prabhupada visited African countries like South Africa and Nairobi and also Mauritius. Yeah, so our topic is going to be about the highlighting the activities, successes, challenges of book distribution in Africa in order to make Africa the book distribution in the 10 years, next 10 years, very ecstatic. Yeah. So, in Africa, generally, the culture of Africa is a little bit similar to like Vedic culture. Yeah. In terms of dressing, in terms of tradition, in terms of dancing, singing, worshiping.
And welcome.
The only difference that only is that the worship is not directed to the Supreme Lord.
Annual conference.
It's directed to elements like angels or gods. But there are some similarities. So for African, it's not much difficult to understand, to accept Krishna consciousness. The only difference is maybe the four regulatory principles, especially the meat eating that we are not used to follow. Yeah. So some reality is that we are preaching this Krishna consciousness in the material world, the kingdom of Maya, where everything is controlled by materialistic people, materialistic leaders who are not devotees. That's why Srila Prabhupada has one of the purpose of ISKCON is to expose the fault of materialism. Yeah. So this world now we are in, people think or people believe that material life is the way, the best way to succeed. So we forget about everything else and concentrate on material achievement. So Srila Prabhupada brought this movement to change the situation. That's why I said this Krishna consciousness is meant to expose the fault of materialism. So how to do that? You know, in everything we do, there is formula. Even to gratify our senses, there are formulas. So to become devotees, also there are formulas. So this formula, you can find them in the books of Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. So we have different activities in ISKCON Africa. When I say ISKCON Africa, we have West Africa, we have East Africa, we have Central Africa, and we have South Africa. We also have some islands like Mauritius that sometimes considered as also part of Africa. Yeah. So I've been traveling in these different places: Togo, Nigeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, Congo, Mauritius, South Africa, and I've seen that yeah, even if the book description is not at the best standard now in Africa, but in Africa we are still trying our best. So activities like in terms of book distribution, one of the best way of distributing books is through Harinam, because Harinam, we make a team, a group, and start playing mridanga, start dancing, and people they are attracted. As I told you earlier, that Africans like to dance. So when they see people in a group somewhere chanting and dancing, automatically Africans like to see, and they approach, and they from there some questions and answers, some debates. It's kind of comparative religions debates like that. So Muslims ask some questions, Christians ask some questions, non-believers also ask questions. Then from there we sell some books also. We have another way is the book table, or doing book distribution with a van or a vehicle. Yeah, book table is it's like office. You know, everyone has an office. Every morning, people go to office on a regular basis. So sometimes some devotees they select a point, they sit in the town, and on a regular basis they have a small table, and every morning, every day, they go there, and they have fixed customers. You know, because when someone buy a book, they may not have time to go to the temple. They may live very far from the temple. So at that spot, it's become like office for the devotee. And every day he goes there. And from there, make contacts, a lot of contacts. And from that point also, based on the contacts he gets, he can visit those people on their offices or on their homes. Yeah, so that is another very important way of distributing books also. And distributing book with vehicle is very important. Actually, it has a psychological effect. You know, not only in Africa, but in general, when you become a monk or a spiritual person, people have the tendency to think that, okay, it's because you did not succeed in your material life. That's why you have joined such and such spiritual movement. You're kind of escapist. Yeah. So when people see devotees coming and parking their vehicle, very nice vehicle or a van, and open the boot and start distributing, yes, so it has a psychological effect, because at least people say, yes, these people, they have a vehicle. It's mean they are not poor. They are not coming to beg, because the concept of selling in Africa sometimes is like, oh, this guy is hungry, he's poor, he needs some money, so that's why he's selling something. But if you come with your vehicle, nice vehicle, you park it and you open your boot, then people automatically, they say, oh, this person is selling book, but it's not because he's in need. He maybe he's trying to help us. So let's go, let's approach him. So distribute book with vehicle is very, very important. There's a great psychological effect. So I've seen that many places, devotees do that with van or a vehicle, and it has a great effect. And another way also is preaching in school and universities. I thought I've seen that, in especially in like in my country, in Ivory Coast. I used to do that in the years back when the government was favorable on that. So I used to have a personal friend in the campus. So every Saturday I go there, and the teacher, the professor, would give me like 30 minutes to address, the students. Because the students, they already have a certain level of understanding, it was a bit easy for them to understand. Yeah. So preaching to the campus and university is very important, because the students, they are the future. They are going to take position in the country in the future. So if they get that substance, this Christian consciousness, when they are students, when they will become like engineers, when they become deputies, when they will take some big responsibility in the country, at least they have this knowledge about Christian consciousness that will help to establish a very nice society without corruption, without stealing, without so many bad things that we are seeing now in the society. But very, very important. I've seen devotees like in Nigeria. His Grace Tribunal Prabhu is very expert in that. He's tried to already practically every day. He goes to the campus. He has some time to spend with the students, and it was very, very successful, very successful. I've seen that also in the Togo, in South Africa, in Mauritius, everywhere. So preaching in the campus and in schools is very, very important, because these students, as I'm saying, they are the future, of society. Because if they are the future and they do have a good education, spiritual education, then they're just going to be like the seniors. So it's very important to introduce these our teaching Srila Prabhupada books in campuses, in college, and in universities, and also preaching on radio and television is also very much done also in Africa, West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, everywhere. I've seen that also. Yes, because another psychological effect also is that people think that whatever thing is discussed on TV or on radio, it must be very important. It must be very important. So when you bring your message to the radio or to the TV, then automatically people accept it. That yes, bona fide is good. Yeah. So it has a lot of effects, and we have a devotee in West Africa, Ghana. His name is Jana Chakshu Prabhu. Actually, he has done a lot in that field. He has so many followers all over the world, in America, in Europe, in India, everywhere, because his preaching is a kind of bridge between, Krishna consciousness and material life. So those who cannot have direct access to Krishna consciousness, okay, they listen to the radio, to the television, and okay, we don't ask them to shave their head and beginning to dress like that, but at least they understand something, and because it's discussed on television, then they say, yes, these people, they are organized, they are serious people. Yeah. So the preaching in the campus, I'm sorry, in radio and television, the media, very, very, very much important, because what people see stay for long in the consciousness. So many devotees, not only in Ghana, but in other places also. I remember, when Bhakti Maharaj is to come to West Africa, there is no program without TV program. You used to go to TV, you used to go to radio, to newspapers also. Yes, it's a very good way of preaching. So in terms of success, yeah, we had from these different activities, Harinam, book distribution through Harinam, book distribution through books, table or vehicle or van, book distribution in university and campus and school, colleges, and book distribution through TV, radio, media, and like that. Yes, brought a lot of results, because of that, Krishna, like say 20 years, 30 years back, generally people did not really understand what we're doing. They consider Krishna consciousness as a fetish. In our book, we have pictures of Krishna with flutes, Vishnu with 4 arms, like that. So these pictures are common in Africa. You can consider Krishna or Vishnu as a deity, an African deity living in the sea that's called mummy water. Yeah. So yeah, from our presentations in the TV and radio and explanation on Sankirtan like that, then people gradually start coming. You understand? Also, the field in Africa is already controlled by 2 major religions, Islams and Christianism. Yeah, so the people in general, either they are Muslim or Christian. Yeah, so Krishna consciousness is kind of try to catch those who are in not Christian and not Muslim. But after deep explanation, sometimes Muslims and Christian, they come to understand that yes, we have some similar, some similar points from Quran, from Vedas, from Bible. Then they also join. Practically all devotees, in West Africa and East Africa, we are all basically Christian. Few ones were Muslim. It's very difficult for Muslims to become Krishna conscious, but many of us we were Christians. Yeah. So these are some kind of activities and successes in book distribution in West Africa. And also we talk about the challenges. This is a very serious topic. Challenges. Yeah, we have a lot of challenges. As I said earlier, that the reality is that Krishna consciousness is operating in this material world. It's the kingdom of Maya. Yeah. So everything is controlled by those people, those leaders who are not devotees. And the first challenge in this new age, because now we are in the age of internet, we are the age of technology like that. So the tendency of people in general is to become lazy and say, oh, when you go on Sankirtan with the physical book, they say, oh, that book, I can get it on internet, on the media like that. So kind of reducing the quantity of book distribution. So I came out with some try to find some way of discouraging the tendency of thinking like that. So finding some disadvantages of the ebook or the internet like that. So the internet, if you want to read book only on internet, because people they don't want to buy the book because they can get it easy on the social media. So the disadvantages are there. Okay, like connection problem, Wi-Fi problem, or data problem, viruses also problem, and risk of getting the wrong version of the book we are looking for. Because if you click on the internet, for instance, you want Bhagavad Gita, we click Bhagavad Gita. Different type of Bhagavad Gita will appear on the screen. But if you are not educated, you don't have a bona fide spiritual master, then you can click on any Bhagavad Gita. But we have personal Bhagavad Gitas. We have Bhagavad Gita from Mayavadis, we have Bhagavad Gita from Jainis, we have Bhagavad Gita from Karmakandis. Then it is not good. And if we end up becoming a Mayavadi, becoming an atheist, because we didn't want to take the physical book because we can get it easily and on the net, on the social media. Okay, some advantages of the physical book also is that from the physical book we can always that book can always remain present generation after generation. Now remember that the book is called Brihad Mridanga. Srila Prabhupada used to say that when you play the Mridanga in the temple during the Kirtan, okay, the Kirtan, the Mridanga is only in the 4 holes, so maybe after that, people can hear, the neighbors can hear the sound of Mridanga. But the sound of the books, Brihad Mridanga, it goes generation in generation. Yeah, so it's like one day it can explode. Even though the person who buys it does not read it, maybe in the future, his son, his grandson, his friend, like that, somebody will read it. So the book will always remain generation after generation. And another advantage also for the physical book is that we have a direct association with the personalities in the book. So, ISKCON, one of the attempt in ISKCON is to attend Prema. First is Shraddha. Shraddha, then we have Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha means to associate with devotees, with sadhus. So when we come to a very large way of understanding, broad way of understanding Sadhu Sangha, we can also associate with sadhus through the books. When you take Bhagavad Gita, or let's say Shrimad Bhagavatam. In Shrimad Bhagavatam, we have Sukadeva Goswami is there, we have Parikshit Maharaj is there, we have Shiva is there, we have Maitreya Rishi, we have so many advanced devotees, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. So we are associating with them that way. So we don't just read the book, but we also associate with these personalities. And if the book is even the present in the house, it's bring auspiciousness. Yeah. So and also help us to make a systematic study, because when you go to the net, you read the book by yourself. Yes, there's no guide, Nobody is going to to give you the right interpretation. One of the problem in the spiritual life is wrong interpretation. Yeah. So if you are the physical book and with the physical guru or the physical temple is there, and when you don't understand something, then you can ask the guru, or you can ask the person who gave you the book. So that is there are some advantages. So we can find a lot of disadvantage, because this is killing book distribution also. Everywhere, practically every book distribution, some places is going down because of this kind of mentality that people say, think that, okay, I'm going to get the book, okay, on my own, on the net, or like that. Also, another point of challenges also is that the books are the access of books is now these days. Remember that in the 20 years back, 15 years back, it was much easier for ordering books and clear them from the port like that. It was easy. But now with the material, as I told you, that the material system is increasing every year, every day. So our it's like a war. We are in a war, okay? And there's no enemy who like to see is the enemy to gain the battle. So we tried many strategies, to win the battle. So we, as ISKCON, we are an army. So we have to fight the battle. So our weapons are the books. Yeah. So they have said that many times in different BBT Africa conference. Yeah. So the what we are pleading in Africa is, and I remember Srila Prabhupada said that free book to Africa and free prasadam distribution for Africa. Not because Africans are so poor that they cannot buy a piece of bread. No, but that kind of poverty is that this kind of the system, make these African countries controlled by the superior forces in bracket. For instance, I take example from Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is the old French colony. Till now, is still controlled by France, and our currency, our money, the French currency from Ivory Coast is controlled by France. And if you order something, we are from Ivory Coast, that article or that object must transit through France before it's come to Ivory Coast. Yeah, because France people, they think, yes, Ivory Coast or these French countries, they are our property. After 30 years, after 40, 50 years, they still think like that. So if we are like books, our books, sending books to Africa, then the system is that those things must be controlled by these imperial forces. So they will have to check which kind of book is coming to that country. Is it a book is going to open the eyes of those people we are trying to dominate, or is going to make them more to sleep more? Okay, for instance, scriptures like Quran and Bible, it's okay. People are used to it, but books of Srila Prabhupada, they are meant to open the eyes of people. So if they want to stop this domination, then we can read this. That's why Srila Prabhupada said these books, one of the purpose of ISKCON is to expose the fault of materialism. Yeah, the fault of materialism. Just now, we are living in this period of global pandemic, COVID-19. There are a lot of speculation going on. Yeah, a lot of speculation going on. Yeah, so we have to understand that what we need is to easy access, of books. It's not like before, and as I said, 20 years, 15, 30 years back, we could easily clear our books from the port. Yeah. So when the books, even if you get free books, but to clear them, it will be a big headache. Yeah, because the objective is to try to stop or to reduce, the quantity of those special message coming to a particular country to open the eyes of people living there. Yeah. So we think that maybe we have to discuss seriously. I've been saying that many years ago, and we have to seriously discuss about that. Because Srila Prabhupada said that free books from Africa and free Prasadam distribution from Africa. Okay, then the policy, I don't really understand very much how the policy is on BBT, global BBT, but we can discuss. The people in charge of BBT can really understand and come to the conclusion that okay, let's do something that make easy access of books for African countries. Because you remember that the policy in Africa also, most of the temple, it's not like India or rich temples in Europe like that. They are sponsored, like that. No, in Africa, most of African temples in Africa, they struggle to maintain themselves, to maintain the devotees like that. So it's not easy after spending so much money to order some books and spending so much money to clear the books. Then practically nothing remains to save, to again print, and to order new books for the future. Just like we just get a few books, and before we know, we sell the book, and as soon as we sell the book is spent for temple management, taking care of devotees. So it's not easy. It's not easy at all to continue that way. So this challenge is the main challenge actually in Africa. Okay, taking the example of also French countries, this is the third time I'm going to say it. Personally, I joined ISKCON with because of 3 books. Yeah, the first book is Science. It's called the Coming Back, the Science of Reincarnation. In French is Revenir, la science de la réincarnation. And the second book is Solution pour un âge de fer. If you translate it literally, it is a solution for an iron age. It's like similar to Science of Self-Realization. And the third book is High Taste, the Goût Supérieur. This is a book of vegetarianism. So these 3 books, there are many. Those 3 books, especially the solution of an iron age, that's the first book I read in my devotional life. So many of us in Africa, even Ghana and Nigeria, these are the books we read for us to become devotees. Okay. So nowadays, especially in the French zone, since long time, we are not replenished these books. So always we have old books like Srimad Bhagavatam. When we go to the Sankirtan now, they know the book we have, the blue book, Srimad Bhagavatam, part 1, part 2, for many years. Okay. Then I also discussed many years with Gordon Prabhu and other devotees that we need new titles, like I mentioned, Science of Science de la Réincarnation, le Goût Supérieur, many other things. I make the list to people in charge. So the main point is to have easy access, of the books that I'm repeating, in some part of Africa, like Kenya, like South Africa, they're kind of rich temples. So it's very easy for them to order books and to distribute the books, and at the same time save some Lakshmi, some money to again continue. But I'm telling you, Africa, West Africa is not the same thing. For instance, there's a Congo. I'm going to Congo. Congo, they have a lot of books there also. A lot of books are there. But the temple president was there. He's left the body now. It's like his wife and children and some few devotees trying, to revive, to continue the mission. So it is not easy. So the main point of my point on this challenge, on this book, is there a way for a special consideration, to give license to allow some certain countries in West Africa, to be able to print locally. That will save. That will help a lot. Yeah, because just like I said it last year in Kenya, Nairobi. Okay, somebody is sick, and we need some medicine, So before we wait for the medicine, the people must die. So why not making a policy to have the medicine available at any cost and very easily? Yeah. So again, we remember ourselves that the war is there, and we need to have weapons all the time, not that we have to wait for long before we get some weapons to fight the battle. Yeah. So this is the challenges. Now the books, people, they don't like to buy books, physical books, because they can get it. You go to Google, they click, then they see the book is there. Okay. So I try to find some disadvantages that we can have some. Even if you put the book in a pen drive, the pen drive can get some virus, and always we have to update our Zoom, our WhatsApp, because when there is a new version, it must change. So if you rely too much on technology, then the book, maybe you have stuck a book in a particular device, then when we want to open it, it's not possible because that device is now obsolete, is old now. But the books remain books same. The books that we have for 20 years, 30 years, the book is still there, and we can have a direct association with personality in the books. So challenges. Difficulty now to sell the books because of this internet and Google issue now, and also the accessibility of the book. The policy of ordering books and paying some things to BBT, it's good. It's the policy. It was established by Srila Prabhupada. It is the same Srila Prabhupada who said that we should arrange free books for Africa. Because one thing also, generally, the African doesn't like much reading, except those who went to school and have a good education. Yeah. So make things easy for them to read the books. Yeah. So and this is the point I wanted to make on this policy. And it's kind of a question. It's not a question, but it's like a reflection. A reflection. Sometimes every day I think about it. It's like supposing I decided that okay, I'm going to, because I have samples of all those books I mentioned. Sense of self-realization, the higher taste and reincarnation, and many more. Life comes from life in French. For instance, supposing it's like it's a reflection. Supposing I print those books locally without asking permission to anybody, and I print those books, and because those books are so nice, people buy and they join the journey is on. So the reflection, the question is Krishna or Srila Prabhupada, are they going to be happy or not happy? That's my point. So that's the point. See, the books is true, it's very important, yes, but we need to have easy access to those books. And if we do like that, then because the topic is how to make book distribution in the next 10 years very bright. Yeah, yeah. Those are the major obstacles that we are facing. Okay, for the ebooks, for the people wanting to want to buy the books from to read book from Google, it's everywhere. Yeah, but the term of printing books and ordering books, this is a specific problem in West Africa. So again, I'm speak about it, and I'm trying to see if that can be possible in the future, in the near future, or in the future. Then we can have some consideration on this issue, and we can make Africa, very continent of book distribution, because the tendency also that the Africans initially they used to take our books, but because of this this particularly this year COVID-19, then the Sankirtan, the book distribution are really gonna, now that gradually the lockdown is finishing. So we think from this point, from this BBT conference, and we can try to find new strategies. Yeah, new strategies, because after the COVID-19, then another problem that we are going to face is no money. Many people are going to say no money. So it's time now to really get ready and think what next after this pandemic, global pandemic. What next? What will be the strategies? What will be the system, new system for book distribution in general, and also in Africa? Yeah. So we think that this our contribution from this BBT conference is going to be had, and some action is going to be taken, and we hope that we hope and then think that book distribution will never die. Will never die in West Africa, in Africa in general, so that Srila Prabhupada will be very much pleased with our little efforts that we are doing. Already we are doing a lot, but some support also will be there. Yes, yeah. Some people can help to donate, or some people can help to assist in getting more books in West Africa, or try to come to a point that we can at least try to print locally. That will help preaching, that facilitate our preaching very much. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
How many time do you have?
We have about 15 minutes. And
15?
Yes, but we have quite a few questions. It seems as though your talk has interested many devotees, and we therefore have about 8 questions that I have listed. But I'd really like to thank you. I know that through every talk we sometimes widen our perspective, and you've definitely widened my perspective on preaching in Africa, book distribution in Africa, and especially the challenges that you mentioned that we might not necessarily understand from our perspective. So I very much appreciated that. Thank you very much. Your point about university preaching, I was somebody who actually came to Krishna consciousness through university preaching. So I think that resonated with me as well. So thanks for that. And what I'm going to do now is just jump into the questions. The first one is really regarding the fact that in the beginning session, the opening session of the conference, Govardhan Prabhu mentioned that books are translated into African language and those should be sold at cost. Africa is a very poor country, and in the rural areas, we find that locals cannot afford to pay for books even at cost. Do you have any solutions regarding this?
Yeah, the solution is first, the books, if those books are printed locally, this is a good advantage, number one. And also, as you mentioned, Africa is a poor country compared to other countries. Yeah, so you should always discuss, about the price, because one way or other, people must have access to the books. Otherwise, what is the point? We have good products that people cannot have access. So we shouldn't make the price lower, because our mission is to make sure people get the books. Yeah. So we should try to have more consideration on the prices, so that one way or other, people must get those books. Yeah. The point is to get the books.
Yeah,
yes.
I think that's a good point, that there is a higher purpose in terms of the books. So thanks for that. Is there a demand for French books, and do you have a supply for French books from the African BBT?
Yeah, I'm in touch with not Europe BBT. Narayani Mataji. They always send me list of new books they are printing or new books ready. But I always tell them the same thing. I tell them every time that, yes, look, situation has changed a lot, and if we get those books, we're even free. So supposing somebody donates, generously donates books, like for instance, 5,000 books from Europe. Okay, they'll come to the port. Then a big headache for us is how to clear those books. And I told you, the system, especially this is very, very dangerous in French zones. No, French zone, everything that comes from French zone, like Ivory Coast, Togo, this check from France first. No, so the policy is that they make sure that people don't have access to light and understanding. So they try to keep people in darkness. So they increase necessary taxes. You find yourself incapable of getting your own books. But if you struggle to get those books, before you finish to clear those books, we are indebted. And how much books you are going to sell? What is the price you're going to sell? And how much can you keep to order new books? Yeah. I know, I'm in touch with them. They have new books. Okay, but how? The point is, if they get those books to the port, big headache. For instance, even the what is called it, the invoice. I remember 2 years ago, the invoice, common invoice, we used to get free in the post office. Now invoice is about like a $250 just invoice from DHL. If you don't pay that money, no, you cannot even offer a clearing agent. Your books will stay there, and they keep piling the taxes. And at the point, if you don't clear the books, they will burn them or throw them away, something like that. Without proper bloods, very precious. Yeah. So
thanks for that. Actually, that was a very striking point that I hadn't considered prior to you mentioning it. That sort of interference when books come into the country and how they are received and things like that. So
because this, I'm sorry, this book, these countries are French, Muslim and Christian countries. So any other books that is not Bible or Christian, then a lot of things to try to like that.
Thanks for that. The next question is, Maharaj, I'm so inspired by your talk. How can we contribute or sponsor books to go to all countries in Africa?
Well, maybe first we can exchange contact, because we cannot speak everything on this forum, only 1 hour. If like, we can keep contact, exchange contact, then we can still continue to talk after the program. We have more time to discuss about that.
Okay.
Maybe but support and donation are still welcome. Yeah, I can provide you my email, my WhatsApp number. Then we can, from there we can start and see how we can help. Thank you in advance.
Just a note for the audience is that any questions that we might have, because I see that there are a few coming through as well, that are not answered live, will go into a presentation that will be posted on the BBT Africa website. But we will have a few more minutes to answer a few more questions. So I'm going to take the next one. There is a high illiteracy rate in Africa, obviously
Yes.
not all parts, but in some parts. How has this impacted on your preaching?
Yes. The literacy is very high, it's true. But also at the same time, the education also is going on also nicely. Those who are not, those who cannot read, what can I do? We just concentrate on, see, the point is that if one person in the family, at least one person in the family, may get the book, even the other one that cannot, read, but that one person, can translate in local language to them, explain local language to them. So this is our hope, because we cannot, try to educate. Our system is not to educate, okay, but the policy of the country is to educate people in general. But our business is to, make a book available to people. But if they are not educated, no problem. We try to fund as much as people, but with the hope that in every family, at least one person will get the book and try to explain to others. That is the hope we have.
Thank you for that. I think you also mentioned in your talk how people are attracted to Harinam.
Yes.
So I guess that's another very nice way that you described that to attract people. The next question is with regards to preaching via multimedia platforms like TV and radio. How do we start to share different narratives about the Hare Krishna Society? Most of the coverage is mainly on festivals, but how do we go beyond that? So apart from just showing the singing and the dancing, what areas can we start to introduce to communities outside ISKCON?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we can have some interactive debates. We can, we can present deeply our philosophy. We are not just singers and dancers. Yeah, we are not just doing festival. We have a philosophy behind everything we do. So people must understand, like, okay, we are not using Bible or Quran, but our books also is not different from those books. And if people come to understand that it is not a new religion, Hare Krishna movement is not a new religion that has just come. It's the same thing taught in the Bible and the Quran, and from there, many people will try to understand. And the intellectual class of people also, because they think, well, okay, these Hare Krishna people, they don't have anything to do. They go and just jump in the street and like that. But if you know that we have very precious books that can help the society, everything that we are seeing now COVID-19, everything is there. Srila Prabhupada already mentioned that in the books. Yeah. So if people come to know that our books are in advance of time, then they can understand. So we have to do a lot of interaction preaching, debates on TV, meeting high-class people like that. Then it can have a lot of effects. People in the government, if they can understand, then that'll be great.
Thanks for that. The next question is, Maharaj, the mindset in Africa is that everything should be free. Surely Srila Prabhupada's books are of great value, and there should be a small charge to cover the costs of printing.
Yeah. we always say that people they, as you said, it's true. The conscience of African is to get everything free, because this is the impression we got since time immemorial from this colonialism. But we have to break this system and at least try to recognize the endeavor, the great job of a whole man, Srila Prabhupada, his struggle, his sacrifice his life, his blood, his time and energy to make this book available. At least, this is common sense. We should give minimum contribution, not just free. Because the thing is that if you take something free, the tendency is to undervalue, because we got it free, then you can read it or not read it. But if at least you spend some little amount of money, then you can value it. But if it's completely free, then it's no value. Generally, people like to buy things very expensive. I know. A very expensive watch, very expensive car, very expensive, everything expensive, people like it, appreciate it. But when they give something free, they don't value it. So at least a minimum donation.
Okay. It reminded me actually, as you were talking about, how people want to buy very expensive things. When you said about when devotees pull up in a car, people take them a little more seriously, because then they realize that they're not the poor people. So they don't associate them with just being poor or escapists. I thought that was a very interesting point that you made. Then another question here is, are the Christian books in the Ivory Coast in the French language? So are the Christian books, have they been translated into French?
Oh, I have the Christian books. What I know, as far as know, is Muslim and Christian, they have. Sometimes they order some books, but they are very well-established, religion. So like Catholic, and they have printing press, printing arrangements, and they print locally, and sometimes they order some few magazines, but generally, they do everything locally. They print everything locally. Bibles. Sometimes they order, but they have a system of getting book locally. Yeah.
Okay. I have a question here, and I'm going to try to read it as best as I can. Hare Krishna, I wish to understand if the aim of book distribution is just to make the book reach the people, or are we explaining that the person who might be fanatical does not agree with the philosophy and hence does not take the book? I think the person is trying to just understand what is the aim of book distribution. You may have a very fanatical person that you encounter, which is difficult because they could actually be not have any faith and therefore be a bit offensive to the philosophy of the books.
Yes. So when we go on book distribution, our target is not to necessarily convince people. We cannot convince. Srila Prabhupada, only person who can convince. And our business is to hand over the book to the people. Just put the book in their hand. Then Krishna and Prabhupada will, deal with them. So we don't necessarily try to, because you don't have time for that. Because if someone is a Christian, born-again Christian, or fanatical Muslim or Christian, what can you do? They cannot accept, and it's going to turn into maybe some fight and some blasphemy. We have to avoid that. So, and the aim of the book also is to, when they sell a book to someone, make sure we take the contacts and try to follow up. Because just sell the book and keep the money. No, we are not businessmen. It's not business. We are taking out to save some souls who are rotting in this material world. So when you give a book to someone, make sure we keep contact and try to follow up. But those who we meet in the streets, who are not ready, what can we do? We cannot force them to take our books. So we go to next person who is ready. We have cakes, nice cakes to distribute. They are not hungry, so we give to those who need. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Maharaj. It's really been a pleasure hearing you, listening to you, having my perspective widened, really. You've definitely made an impression in terms of just understanding the practical situation and giving all of us, I think, a bit of a peek into what it takes, the hard work it takes. And your point about, trying to get these books printed locally, I think is a very interesting one that probably will get some, discussion later on as well. So thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming on, and we've run out of time. It is lunchtime now, so we'd like to say to everybody, please join us in about an hour's time when there will be a panel discussion that will be very interesting and exciting. There are 5 panelists who are going to join Mukadangari Prabhu, and we look forward to that. So we'll join you again at 2 o'clock, and Hare Krishna again.